I'm just going to sum it up. You're going to go wild and do crimes. Like, that's the thing.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
I'm Nerdarchy Dave. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds.
I guess we're going to get wild in this video. So today we're going to talk about a new concept that's only been, kind of talked about behind the scenes. And that is this concept. You want to get into it, Dave?
Sure. So we've been kind of teasing out a little bit on different social medias and our live chats. This thing that we've been working on, and we're affectionately referring to it as Zoo Mafia, the RPG. That might be the name. It might not be. We're not sure yet. But right now, that's like our working title. And it came about by accident. Honestly,
it's all a work in progress. And the accident is almost hilarious. Do you want to get into that story?
Sure. Like we were either at the end of a live stream of one of our games, or maybe we were doing a virtual meeting sometime last year, and one of our staff writers, Robin, responded to something Ted said, and they were like, "Now, Ted, I know this is not what you said, but this is what I heard." And that's so relatable. Like someone says something and it takes your brain a moment to catch up. But, and they're like, "I heard you say Zoo Mafia." And I instantly followed up with, "I would play the heck out of that game." I probably didn't say heck. Just so you know. And I was like, that sounds like a great concept. So it's something that we kind of started working on. We started doing some writing on. We're thinking about, what we want to do with that game and how it's going to kind of play out. And we thought we'd do some design journal style videos, articles, and different things so that you folks could follow along with us if you're interested.
Absolutely. Now we've said for a long time that, we don't want to make our own role-playing game. People have asked us, when are you going to make something? When are you going to make something? When are you going to make something? And we've always said, we don't want to. We don't want to design something from the ground up. We're really not interested unless, and there was always that unless, that caveat out there, something wound up coming that hasn't been done. Sometimes people make an RPG because of a mechanic that they really want to use. Sometimes it's because a concept has come to them that's not being out there, or do it in a different way. And finally, we've got something that has inspired us to say, I want to try my hand at that.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, our thing has always been there's a lot of generic RPGs out there we would use to just play what we wanted to play. It hasn't been until now that we've been inspired to we would like to play this game, make this game, and also share it with other people to play as well. So with that, what is the concept of Zoo Mafia?
So you obviously have the concept of what zoo animals are, and you obviously have the concept of what a mafia is. How on earth does one mash the two, Dave?
Well, first of all, we also want to mash it in a very specific way, because when I thought about this, I didn't think about modern times per se. I was thinking more roaring 20s, 1920s, gangsters, Elliot Ness, that kind of stuff combined with cute zoo animals, right? I don't know why, but the first thing I thought about was Tommy guns, straight razors, and otters. And there's some of the things that we've teased. We've got some images out there on the internet that we commissioned, and we're gonna be doing some more, obviously. But yeah, the idea of these really cutesy kind of animals in this dark underworld crime scene that happens to take place in a zoo.
So these are kind of elements that, we really find utterly hilarious, to kind of take these concept of the animals that everybody sees in the zoo that look like ye old basic animals. But then when, the lights go out and the guests go home, you kind of anthropomorphize them and they have this double life going on. So I think there's a lot of aspects to really be able to take it and tone down some of the more grim stuff and have it focus on the cutesy hilarity, or you could dial up, that grim and horror, and it could be, an utter bloodbath.
Yeah, I think from the perspective of the game, we're probably going to lean in the darker side, but give you the dials.
Yes.
in order to, reel that back if you wanted to, right? So that's what we're kind of working on. So now, I guess the biggest thing is like, what do you do in a game like this? What is the purpose? What is your purpose as the player? What is your purpose as the GM? What are we trying to accomplish here?
So as a typical, zoo creature, you just kind of exist. As a mafia, it's all about the family. It's all about, improving and gaining one up on, the other mafias that are out there and, improving the station of that. So like there could be, political intrigue, there could be heists, there could be, well, I just need to go and get that guy, get that dastardly bear who killed my brother. There's all different kinds of angles that you could go with this style game.
I'm just going to sum it up. You're going to go wild and do crimes. Like that's the thing. And now, if this is something you think you would be interested, we're going to create an email list where we're going to give updates about it and what we're working on. Maybe we'll do design journals over there as well, let you know when there's a new video up. But if it's something you want to follow along with, we're going to put a link down in the description so you can sign up for that email list. Eventually we will do quick start rules so that you can go download them for free. I don't know how soon that's going to come. We're talking about doing other things like a live stream of playing this game. If you want to be, kept up to date on that, that email list is going to be the best way to do it. And the only thing that we are going to email you about with that list is this particular thing. It's going to be very specific. It's going to be different than our regular newsletter that we do, which is a lot of RPG/D&D content. This is going to be all Zoo Mafia content.
100%. All right. So with that, like, what kind of setting? Like, I know we talked about a zoo, but like, what is the real backdrop that we're working with this particular game?
All right. First of all, I envision that wherever the zoo is, it's an urban setting, right? So you're going to have that going for you, and that can mean some other things. There can be some outside influences on the zoo itself. Now, we haven't really decided what era the game's going to take place in. But I think we are committed to locking in the animals into like that 1920s style, level of technology, right? And maybe it's a modern world. We're in the 2000s or 2020s. Yeah, the animals for some reason are lagging behind. I don't know. We're gonna toy with that. Those are some of the dials to play with. But in the game, when we come up with it, the first thing we want to do is we want to flesh out a sample zoo, all the things you expect to be at a zoo. And matter of fact, Ted can speak way better to this than me. Like, he and his family go to the zoo regularly. I'm going to actually have to do a lot more research. We did mention, that, the animals are anamorphic, kind of like when people aren't looking, but they're just regular animals when they are looking. So that also means we're going to have pedestrians around regular people that are there, partaking of the zoo. You have the zookeepers that also are going to be there as well. And then like just employees of the zoo.
So like, there are times where you might have to be stealthy so that zookeepers don't catch on to what it is that you're trying to do. I mean, after all, it is crime, right?
It's Madagascar, right? With the penguins. You don't see anything, or cute and cuddly boys, cute and cuddly.
Well, absolutely. So what are we looking at as far as antagonists and protagonists here?
It's kind of really weird to say like the players are technically the protagonists, because the idea is they're the criminals, right? They belong to crime families. So I think that makes the other antagonists are actually going to be other criminals belonging to other crime families. But there could just be regular animals in the zoo that are kind of like the bystanders that get caught up in things. So like in some ways they can be the protagonists. Maybe the zoo itself, not the organization, but the animals, they have their own like police force where they police themselves. So you might have to deal with that. It could be like, I could definitely see like, what if there's like a SeaWorld type place that's nearby, or even like a Six Flags type place that has a safari, right? So these could be different organizations that either try and infiltrate the zoo or you try and infiltrate them. The idea of an orca with a Jeff cap and a cigar really appeals to me for some reason. Like it's on the pool, like with its fins up, and it's kind of leaning there chomping on a stogie. As a different crime boss from a different place.
I think that needs to be the next piece of artwork.
It just might be. Like, we've been having a lot of fun with this. Erica Wiley is the artist, has done several of the pieces that we've done, and really looking forward to working with her even more on this project. I really like the things that have been brought to life.
So I mean, we can splash in a couple of art pieces, throughout this that we've already got, just because some of them are pretty darn hilarious.
Yeah, we can show up here. We've got Machine Gun Otto, which was the first one. Then we have the second one, Al Capone.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. A gender bender, Al Capone, which was a lot of fun. And then, of course, we have Carlo Hambino here as well. These are all fantastic. Erica did a great job.
All right. So with all of that, what kind of story are we looking at with something like this?
All right. So the story is, like, there's a couple things, right? I like the idea that you have the traditional mobsters, right, that kind of rule a lot of these families, and they're very like into the old ways, which is like, you're an elephant mobster, you only work with elephant mobsters, right? It's so everything would be like kind of segregated, families of animals, families, crime families, right?
Yeah.
But then I like that butting up against the new, which the new is they mix and match, right? And as a gamer, as a player in this game, I don't want us all to be elephants. I like the idea that we can mix and match, and so these new crime families are coming up, and they have different animals in them, and obviously, like, the other thing is, like, since like it's a crime game, you're gonna be like different types of criminals, right? Maybe someone's a safe cracker, someone's the driver, but the driver, it's gonna be like a paddle boat with a swan paddle boat, or
the paddle boat, or the golf cart.
The golf cart, yeah. They're the vehicles.
Could imagine, the animal racing the golf cart through the zoo.
Yeah.
And since, as Dave mentioned, I am a regular zoo attendee and member of, our local zoo, which I'll throw out there, Philadelphia Zoo. I can actually picture the golf carts that they use and the locations.
The hot air balloon ride that they have.
I think the hot air balloon is gone. But
it's been a long time ago.
It used to be there.
Yeah.
But, there's not saying that, we couldn't throw a hot air balloon into our zoo for our game, so that you've got a variety of different type of vehicles that could be used just for hilarity.
Right. So so you've got all of that going on, new versus old. You're trying to commit heists against other crime families. Maybe you've got to break into the gift shop to steal things. Maybe the elephants have information you need, so you have to get them the peanuts, in order to get it. Again, we mentioned earlier going to someplace else, a different kind of a park where you have to break in. Also, like in an urban environment, you got cats, dogs, rats, and pigeons, right? Could also be a part of it, right? Maybe you have to fend off an attack that's coming in.
That's not enough. As a regular zoo attendee, there are always traveling exhibits. Yeah. So like, perhaps something is moved in, and with such traveling exhibit, comes a whole new mafia. So whether it be you need a one shot or something, there could be elements of, oh, well, here is the, insert what have you. And like that could be an amusing aspect to kind of look at, of like, oh, you need some extra chaos dialed in? Why not put this in here? Traveling to the local aquarium or to, the safari, could be elements. So if you had multiple locations to kind of work with, I think it could be a lot of fun. I also think it could be a lot of fun of, what if, there are some humans who are on the take or on the know, and what kind of elements that factors in, and what kind of chaos does that roll with?
Right, and also there's this overlying concept, if the humans find out, it's all over, right? It's going to be the end of your family, and, maybe they don't realize that, you're actually, the animals are much smarter than they think, and they have this whole other world going on, but they think something's wrong with them, so maybe they have them put to sleep or put down or moved out or whatever, or maybe like, oh, the heist or the mission this week is one of the zookeepers were taking pictures, and we think they got a picture of something they shouldn't have, but maybe they don't know it yet, and the film hasn't been developed yet, so you have to break in and get the film and extract it and destroy it before you're found out.
Indeed. So with all of that, I guess it kind of comes down to, a really big question of like, what kind of things are we looking at with mechanics?
Yeah, like I said, so we definitely want to have this overarching element of something bad happens if people figure out what's going on or think they think something weird is going on that is a detriment to the players and to the characters. So we're definitely going to want mechanics around that. And there, I don't know if we're going to like make mechanics from scratch, if we're going to hack another system. We're looking at all these different options to figure out what it is exactly we want to do. Right now we're still kind of starting with a preliminary writing phase, and from there we can start building it out.
Now I know, we talk about heist and we talk about animals. I would throw out there is the rule set of the honey heist, which, has been favored greatly over on Critical Role. I think they did like multiple streams of it, but that's a one-sheet RPG. I think that's a bit, too small for what we're looking for.
Even if you add in the hat expansion, it still doesn't add very much to it. So Honey Heist is like you're bears that commit crime, and you're either doing bear stuff or you're doing crime stuff, and that determines what you're rolling. And also like, if you go too far on either spectrum, because the more stuff you do from each, it changes your character.
Yes.
And if you go all the way to one side or the other, you kind of lose essentially.
Yeah, you either become all bear or all criminal, and no, that doesn't necessarily work. So like, I don't feel that fits. While it's a great system for that kind of hilarious game, there's only a number of elements that work. But we need to go bigger. We need to go in our own direction. And we've got a number of ideas. And if you happen to like this video and the concepts that we're working with, we're going to do a handful more to try and, keep this going and see what kind of things we can kind of come up with, and you guys can weigh in.
Speaking of weighing in, why don't you weigh in the comments and let us know. Are you digging this idea, or is Nerdarchy off the rocker? Why don't you old guys go back to D&D, the thing that you know? Let us know and share your thoughts and opinions and ideas with the Nerdarchy community.
While you're down there, don't forget to do all those fun things, like share, subscribe, even go ahead and click on that notification bell.
Quick reminder, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we drop new videos here on the channel, but you can't wait till then. No worries, we got you covered. Up here, you can check out why Nerdarchy thinks you shouldn't create your own RPG. I'm not so sure this one aged very well.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.